Clint Eastwood's life reads like a long conversation between silence and determination. Across more than 7 decades in cinema, he has remained one of the most enduring figures in American film, evolving from a struggling young actor into a director whose style reshaped modern storytelling. His journey is not simply about fame or awards, but about persistence through changing eras of Hollywood, shifting audience tastes, and the personal discipline required to remain active into extreme age. Even at 94, he continues to work, not as a pursuit of validation, but as a continuation of a lifelong rhythm built around filmmaking itself. His legacy stretches across iconic performances, influential directing, and a consistent exploration of themes like solitude, justice, aging, and moral complexity. Yet behind the public image is a man defined as much by discipline as by distance, someone who built an empire in an industry that rarely grants permanence. This story is not just about success in film, but about how a person can become inseparable from their craft. Clint Eastwood's life ultimately reflects the evolution of modern cinema itself, from classical westerns to morally complex dramas, shaped through one individual's steady, unbroken presence behind and in front of the camera. Early life and restless chill dude Clint Eastwood was born in 1930 in San Francisco during a period marked by economic uncertainty in the United States. His early years were shaped by frequent relocation as his family searched for stable work during difficult times. This constant movement meant he rarely stayed long enough in one place to form lasting childhood friendships or a strong sense of stability. Instead, his upbringing was defined by adaptation, learning to adjust quickly to new environments and expectations. These early experiences quietly shaped his personality, encouraging independence and observation over constant social engagement. He was not a standout student, nor was he particularly involved in school activities, but he developed a reputation for quiet persistence. Rather than relying on attention, he learned to stay in the background and navigate situations on his own terms. This sense of being an outsider would later become a defining trait of many of his on-screen characters. The idea of a lone figure moving through changing landscapes would mirror his own early life experiences. Though he did not know it at the time, these formative years built the foundation for a career centered on resilience, self-direction, and the ability to endure uncertainty without losing focus. Formative years and work ethic. As he moved into adolescence, Clint Eastwood took on a variety of small jobs that helped him understand the value of steady work. These roles were not glamorous, but they introduced him to responsibility and routine at an early age. Whether working in manual labor or assisting in small tasks across different workplaces, he developed a practical mindset that prioritized effort over expectation. He was not driven by immediate ambition for fame or recognition, but by the necessity of earning his way forward. This grounded approach would later become a key part of his professional identity in Hollywood. Unlike many who entered the entertainment industry with formal training or strong connections, he carried with him a sense of practicality shaped by real-world labor. His early experiences also reinforced the idea that progress often comes gradually rather than instantly. Instead of seeking shortcuts, he learned to accept slow development and incremental improvement. This mindset would prove essential in the early years of his acting career, where opportunities were limited and progress was uncertain. The discipline he built during this time became a lifelong foundation that supported his transition into one of the most enduring careers in film history: military service and discipline. During the early 1950s, Clint Eastwood spent time in military service, an experience that contributed significantly to his sense of structure and discipline. While he was not deployed into active combat, his time in uniform exposed him to strict routines, physical demands, and a system built on order and responsibility. These experiences reinforced qualities such as patience, observation, and emotional control. He also faced moments that tested endurance and adaptability, shaping his ability to remain composed under pressure. Rather than transforming him into a traditional soldier, the experience refined his mindset, teaching him to approach challenges with calm persistence. This period also strengthened his appreciation for efficiency and practicality, traits that would later define his work as a filmmaker. On film sets, he became known for minimizing unnecessary delays and maintaining focus on productivity. The military experience did not define his career directly, but it contributed to a behavioral framework that would stay with him throughout his life. It also deepened his understanding of structure, which later translated into his directing style. Scenes were often approached with clarity and precision, reflecting a preference for order that can be traced back to this formative period of service and discipline. Return to America and stardom. When Clint Eastwood's European films gained attention in the United States, his career underwent a dramatic transformation. What was once considered a niche international experiment suddenly became a cultural phenomenon. American audiences responded strongly to the distinctive style he had developed abroad, leading to widespread recognition and new opportunities in Hollywood. Upon his return, he was no longer viewed as a struggling actor, but as a leading figure capable of carrying major film productions. This shift marked a turning point in his professional trajectory, elevating him into mainstream stardom. The roles he took on during this period reinforced his emerging screen identity, characterized by quiet intensity and controlled emotion. His performances began to influence a new generation of filmmakers and actors who admired his understated approach. Hollywood, which had once overlooked him, now sought to incorporate his style into mainstream productions. This period solidified his position as one of the defining actors of his era and marked the beginning of a long-lasting presence in American cinema. Building creative control, Malpaso. As his career advanced, Clint Eastwood made a significant move toward creative independence by establishing his own production company. This decision allowed him to take greater control over the projects he worked on, including both acting and directing responsibilities. By managing production decisions, he gained the ability to shape films from concept to completion. This shift was not only professional but also philosophical, reflecting his belief in efficiency, simplicity, and creative autonomy. The production company became a platform for him to explore different genres and storytelling approaches without relying entirely on traditional studio systems. It also gave him the freedom to direct films that reflected his personal artistic vision. Over time, this independence contributed to a consistent body of work that emphasized strong narratives and restrained filmmaking techniques. The establishment of this production structure marked a new phase in his career, where he transitioned from performer to filmmaker with full creative authority. It also demonstrated his long-term commitment to maintaining control over his artistic direction. DRTIHARA and cultural impact. One of the most defining moments in Clint Eastwood's career came with his portrayal of a determined law enforcement character in a major crime film. This role introduced a new type of cinematic figure, one who operated outside conventional systems of procedure and authority. The character became widely recognized for his direct approach to justice and his minimalist communication style. The film itself sparked significant cultural discussion, reflecting broader societal tensions and differing perspectives on authority and order. Audiences were strongly divided in their interpretations, which contributed to its lasting cultural impact. Regardless of differing opinions, the character became one of the most recognizable figures in film history. It also influenced an entire wave of action and crime films that followed, shaping how law enforcement characters were portrayed in cinema. For Eastwood, this role reinforced his status as a leading actor while also solidifying his influence on popular culture. It remains one of the most studied and referenced performances in modern film history. Becoming a director. Alongside his acting success, Clint Eastwood gradually transitioned into directing, a move that expanded his influence in the film industry. His early directing efforts demonstrated a focus on efficiency, clear storytelling, and minimal excess. Unlike many first-time directors, he approached filmmaking with a practical mindset shaped by years of on-set observation. His films often emphasized atmosphere and character over elaborate technical display. This approach quickly gained attention, as it reflected a distinct and disciplined style. As he continued directing, he became known for maintaining tight production schedules and encouraging natural performances from actors. His dual role as actor and director allowed him to understand both sides of filmmaking, contributing to a cohesive creative process. Over time, directing became a central part of his career, eventually surpassing acting in importance. This transition marked his evolution from performer to filmmaker, allowing him to shape stories more directly and establish a long-term artistic legacy in cinema. Early directing style and growth. Clint Eastwood's early directing style was characterized by simplicity and efficiency. Rather than relying on elaborate techniques, he focused on clear storytelling and natural pacing. His approach often emphasized realism, allowing scenes to unfold without unnecessary interruption. This method reflected his belief that strong narratives do not require excessive manipulation. As he gained experience, his confidence behind the camera increased, and he began experimenting with different genres and tones. His films from this period demonstrated a willingness to take creative risks while maintaining a consistent visual style. He also developed a reputation for being highly organized on set, ensuring that productions remained on schedule and within budget. This practical approach earned him respect within the industry and made him a reliable director for studios. Over time, his work began to reflect deeper thematic exploration, including morality, aging, and human resilience. These early directing years laid the foundation for his later critically acclaimed films and established him as a filmmaker with a distinct and enduring voice. 1980s, Reinvention and Challenges. During the 1980s, Clint Eastwood faced a period of transition as audience preferences and industry trends began to change. Action cinema evolved rapidly, introducing new styles and younger stars who dominated the box office. While he remained active, some of his projects received mixed responses, reflecting the shifting landscape of Hollywood. Despite these challenges, he continued to work consistently, both as an actor and director, refining his craft and adapting to new expectations. This period was not defined by decline, but by adjustment and persistence. He used this time to explore different storytelling approaches and maintain his presence in the industry. Rather than stepping away, he focused on long-term artistic growth, which would later contribute to a major creative resurgence. His ability to remain active during changing times demonstrated resilience and commitment to filmmaking. The experiences of this decade ultimately set the stage for one of the most significant turning points in his career, Unforgiven and Artistic Redemption. A defining moment in Clint Eastwood's career came with a Western film that re-examined the myths of the genre itself. Instead of portraying traditional heroism, the story focused on aging characters confronting the consequences of violence and past choices. Eastwood both directed and starred in the film, bringing a reflective tone to the narrative. The project challenged long-standing conventions of Western storytelling and offered a more realistic and emotionally grounded perspective. Upon release, it received widespread critical acclaim and strong audience response. It also earned major industry recognition, including top awards, solidifying its place as a landmark film. For Eastwood, this work represented both artistic maturity and a redefinition of his legacy. It demonstrated his ability to evolve as a filmmaker and engage with deeper thematic material. The success of the film marked a turning point, establishing him not only as a star of Western cinema, but as a respected director capable of reshaping entire genres. Longevity, private life reflection. Clint Eastwood's long career is often discussed in terms of both professional achievement and personal complexity. Over the decades, he maintained a demanding work schedule that kept him closely tied to filmmaking. His private life, like many public figures of his stature, included multiple relationships and a large family, though he generally kept personal matters away from public focus. Despite this distance, he has remained connected to his children and family in various ways over time. Those who have worked with him often describe a strong focus on work, discipline, and independence. Even in advanced age, he continues to approach filmmaking with the same efficiency that defined his early career. His longevity in the industry reflects both physical endurance and sustained creative motivation. While interpretations of his personal life vary, his professional legacy remains firmly established as one of the most influential in cinema history. He stands as an example of long-term artistic dedication in an ever-changing industry. Conclusion. Clint Eastwood's journey represents one of the most enduring and transformative careers in film history. From uncertain beginnings to international recognition, from actor to director, his path reflects persistence, adaptation, and a constant pursuit of creative expression. Across decades, he helped redefine genres, reshape storytelling styles, and influence generations of filmmakers. His work demonstrates how simplicity in performance and direction can produce lasting impact when guided by clarity of vision. While his career spans immense success, awards, and cultural influence, it is also marked by consistency and discipline rather than sudden reinvention. Even in advanced age, his continued involvement in filmmaking reflects a lifelong connection to the craft. Clint Eastwood's legacy is not limited to individual roles or films, but to an entire philosophy of storytelling built on restraint, efficiency, and emotional depth. His story remains a study in how sustained dedication can shape not only a career, but an entire era of cinema.